Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel outside the target demographic. Today I've been bitten by the Temu bug and I wanted to show you a new everyday carry item that I have, and that is a Boroscope. Let's get started. This is an item I picked up off Temu for $5 whole. You can't pick up a charging cable for your phone at a gas station for $5, but what this does is it's a 5.5 millimeter diameter camera, and I believe it's 1 meter long extension is completely adjustable. Now there's two different types you can get. This one is the rigid scope versus the flexible scope, but you can bend it into whatever shape you would like, whatever angle you would like, and it essentially holds that angle. As opposed to the second scope you can get, which would be more useful for, let's say, plumbing, pipes, sinks, something like that. If you're trying to get into the U-pipe underneath something, this guy will retain its shape and you can push it up into ceiling or into drywall. The other one's going to be very floopy, almost like string versus a piece of wire. And it will, as you push it, will continue to alter its shape versus this one that maintains it. So, all that to say, we have a controller here. You have a button to take pictures. You have a rotary dial right here, right there. And that will adjust the light. So when you have your phone set up, let me go ahead and, all right. As soon as you download the app and plug it into your phone, it will instantly launch the app and connect the camera. So we're going to get rid of the overlay there. And you can see it's pretty decent. I would say the focus is maybe about an inch in front of you, but even there you can see my individual fingerprint ridges. So not bad. As I said, we're going to get a little bit of a weird inception thing going on here if I don't point it right at the camera. But by spinning this wheel, you can adjust the intensity of the light to give you a better image quality. Let's see, that would be like here. So you can wash it out, or you can just get a little bit of accent lighting and everything in between. Pretty nice. Stand by. Let me... Haha. So, let me make sure that that's bent down all the way, which it is. And it actually gives you a pretty decent image. I did just rinse this out so you can see individual water droplets in there. The further you go in, again, I would say the focus is maybe an inch in front of the lens, so you may not get the best quality. But I mean, that's a high definition image, depending on the phone you have, which leads us to maybe one of the drawbacks of this. Your phone has to be OTG capable, and it has to be able to support an external camera. So this isn't necessarily a plug and play. I have Android phones, and it works on, this is a Samsung Galaxy S9 in addition to my Samsung Galaxy S22. So I know the premium flagship Androids from Samsung will work. You will need to determine if your one works. Coworker has a Motorola something. I think it's a 4, 5. Regardless, his did not work. So you will have to gamble or do some research. This was, I think, $4.50 on Temu, so I was willing to do the gamble, and it turns out that it paid off. In addition to working on an Android, you'll notice this really funky connection setup. What they did is this is a USB-C that fits onto a micro USB that turns into a standard USB. The connection on the connection on the connection is a bit floopy in that it does have quite a bit of wiggle But that's just something you'll have to take into account. This section is floopy as well, in that it is not rigid. So basically, you'd be able to set this where you need it to be, and then start sliding this around wherever you need it to go. For practical purposes, I guess I really don't have one, but I am interested in looking into my cylinders on the Subaru, horizontally located, firing as a boxer punches, boxer engine. The spark plugs are not necessarily accessible to the human eye, so this would be something I'd be able to thread in sideways and get into the bore, see if I have any carbon buildup or whatnot. It is a direct injection engine, so I'd just be curious. Can also use it for any other items that have a spark plug. I just got a new generator, well, new to me generator, which means it probably has some kind of fouling or something on the inside. So I did a video series on my channel with Seafoam and Project Farm. Absolutely recommend, would subscribe to that channel, as I do subscribe to that channel. He does a bunch of viewer requested videos, and some of them that I really enjoyed were the testing of Seafoam and Marvel Mystery Oil to see if it gets rid of carbon deposits on your pistons. From his testing, the answer is yes. So this is something that I can do on my side as well. Just yesterday, we pulled the entertainment center out to do some cleaning. The kids discovered the air conditioning vents and decided to start throwing toys down there. So not only was I able to determine if there were toys down there, but which ones there were, how many there were. I was able to reach my arm down there and not be grasping at straws, because I knew exactly how many were down there and how many I had pulled out. So already paid for itself. Additionally, I have a series, some of you may know, on soundproofing the Subaru. Would also recommend that. There are some panels that probably should have some sound deadening material, even though it's a base model Subaru. So instead of me having to just pry up and try getting the entire carpeting and upholstery and all that stuff inside the car lifted up, all I had to do is get 5.5 millimeters worth of clearance, and I was able to shove this underneath the carpets in the back seat's footwell, and was able to determine that while there is some kind of painted on additional material, it was not sufficient. So before wasting the time, I was able to confirm if I did or did not need to move the upholstery to do some soundproofing. So the last thing is at 5.5 millimeter, I have not tried shoving it down the bore of my AR yet, but the bore of the AR should be 5.56, giving us 6/1000ths of clearance? Question mark? But I am able to check out my bore as well for all of my firearms. Not a 22, but anything bigger. And included in this package was a bag. Inside the bag are a couple bits and bobs. This is a hook, and this is a magnet. Not a very strong one, as it turns out. Let's see, do they have a coating over that? Why would they have a coating over that? Interesting. Okay, they did have a coating over that. So, what you can do with this little sleeve, you'll notice it has a elongation. Come on now. Focus. Right here. So what you'll do, I believe, you'll go like this and like that. You would think there'd be a notch somewhere. But essentially, maybe, oh, okay, like that. So now, not only can I use the Boroscope to see where I'm going, but I can also use the magnet to pick up something once I find where it is. So, it comes with a magnet. If what you're attempting to pull out is not magnetic, you can do... Oh, come on now. There's a little hook. There's a little hook right at the end of that. And as far as I can tell, you would want that just hanging over the back of the camera like that. And now the hook stays in place. So now you have a hook where you can use the video feed to pick up keys or a ring that has fallen down a sink drain or something like that. So not only is this a viewer, but it's also a retriever. And lastly, this is a 45-degree offset mirror. So what you'll do, it looks like this one threads on. Unfortunately, it does increase the diameter, so I don't know that I'm going to be able to use that in my 22s or ARs for what I was hoping I'd be able to. But let's turn this guy back on. All right. So what it'll do now is I can essentially view the wall instead of directly in front of the camera. So I am looking at the palm of my hand versus looking through my hand, right? So it now gives me a 90-degree view. So I'm looking at the wall of a pipe instead of looking down the pipe. So gives you a couple different options. Like I said, if I, let's see, go about here, I'd say it's about an inch and a quarter in front of you. You can see the individual lines of my fingerprints. Let's see. The closer you get, the blurrier it'll get because of the whole focus thing. Yeah, about an inch. So, again, practicality, maybe not. For EDC carry, that's kind of what you run into, is a balance between functionality and practicality. I would say I'm very excited to have it. I've already used it a couple times. Like I said, I cleared out the air conditioning vent. The wife is adamant on spending hundreds of dollars getting the air conditioning vents cleaned. I can go ahead and confirm if the vents do or do not have anything in them and if the cleaning is worth it. I can look into walls or retrieve things out of vents. Threading pipes. There's a coworker at work. He has a side hustle of installing high-definition televisions in people's houses, and he cuts a hole, you know, the size of a postage stamp, runs a fishing line with a weight on it, and cuts another hole the size of a postage stamp lower down on the wall. So let's say the television is mounted here. Down here is the DVD player and all. So he passes the cables behind the drywall to make it look a little bit more appealing. And I showed him this, asked him if it would be something that would maybe be beneficial to him, and he said he thought it might be. So he'd be able to confirm where the wires are, be able to route them, be able to pull them through with the included hook, be able to confirm that he's not cutting into additional conduits or wiring or anything like that behind the drywall. So niche, I agree, but for $5, how much fun can you have with that? As always, this is outside the target demographic. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Tell me, do you have a use in your personal life or professional life for boroscopes? And what do you think would be a practical application for such a thing? Very niche. Doesn't take up any kind of weights. Does take up a little bit of space, but I figure that's an easy add to the EDC carry bag. And when we go on vacation or out into nature, trail hike, stuff like that, you can look into holes and into fallen logs and all sorts of stuff and get a little bit better idea of what's going on in your environment. So I appreciate you guys stopping by. As always, any questions, comments, concerns you have, leave them in the comments section below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.